Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Downer, and thank you for joining us on The Maker's Intent. As always, I am here with Kyle Greenfield, the president and owner of AF Johnson Millwork. How are we doing today, Kyle?
Doing great, Mike. Good to be back with you.
You too. This one has a lot of interest to me because I really am very excited to learn more about this. Today, we're going to be talking about how you integrate LEDs into commercial millwork. So I think that just sounds interesting as all get out. So let me ask you this. How do you safely integrate LEDs into custom projects and why choose direct lighting over background lighting? So that's my big question for you.
Okay. Uh, a lot of times, always it has to do with what the end user, designer has intended for it. Um, so the direct and indirect would be a lot more if the lighting's being used to highlight something like a sign. So you would want to background light a sign and make it appear bigger or glowing or what have you. Um, the direct lighting is if the lighting intent is to display something, to think more of a retail type of thing, and
Yep.
you have um, jewelry or knickknacks in, you want those lit up so people can see them, and especially if it's a crystal or something like that, where the light can be used to really make that thing shine and glow and look better, make people want to buy it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So what's driving designers to increasingly specify LED integrated millwork into modern spaces?
Well, the LEDs are just a great solution for long-term use. They don't burn out, so you're not trying to change bulbs often, and then LEDs don't create much heat.
Yeah.
Especially on the retail type thing with old style halogens, man, some of those counters you could, I don't know if you remember a few years
I
ago
do.
now, walk up to them and they're it's hot. And um, you always have to change those bulbs out, just a pain. So the LEDs, most of the time when they get in there and they're done right, they're going to be there longer than you and I, and longer than the display is going to be used. So they're a really great solution. I think the other part of your question there of why are we seeing it more is I think uh, the designers are getting smarter and smarter on how to help integrate those and how to help us as manufacturers, or how us as manufacturers can help them make it all seem like it goes together, as opposed to we had a really nice um, cabinet or desk, and then, oh yeah, well, let's throw a light in there and it looks out of place or it doesn't match up. When we're doing it on the design side, working with end users, working with the designers, we can build the display piece with tracks to hide the lights, and different places to run wiring so you never see any of it, and really make it in the lighting integral out of the gate, as opposed to trying to figure out how to light something once it's an already finished project.
Oh, that makes sense. So how do you handle integration between LED millwork and broader building control systems?
Well, that's a little more challenging, just because if they want to have them have the LEDs to be able to be turned on and off with the rest of the control system, we really need to be brought in early enough on, and our lighting designers working with the control guys on this is the type of control we can give you, uh, as they're writing their programs. But it's really great if you, especially in like a retail environment, if they've just got rows and rows and rows and rows of lights, to be able to control it in one source. Um, and kind of the same answer of why you'd want the LEDs built in custom to begin with. Uh, it becomes seamless. So their control system then controls every one of their lights, as opposed to going all around and having to unplug a bunch of different things at night, or something to that effect.
No, that makes complete sense. So, Kyle, let me ask you this. So, what are the biggest challenges and considerations of direct lighting versus background lighting in commercial fabrication?
The background can be really challenging when you're switching all kinds of different materials. And let me give you a kind of a fun example of that. We were working, designing a project just recently, for a beer manufacturer, and really cool big sign all lit up, like 10-foot wide, and have a bunch of beer bottles hanging in it. And they thought, boy, if we could make these glow through, there happened to be a green bottle for this manufacturer. If we could make these glow through, it'd have like a really cool green hue. Well, then it's coming down to, how do we get that uniform? How do you take the lighting and get it coming through so all those are uniform, as opposed to having one bottle that looks like it's on glowing like Superman's kryptonite compared to another that's not lit up at all. Um,
Right.
and so there's a lot of planning and design work in the spacing of how far things have to be apart compared to where the lighting is, and then the brightness of that. If you get it too bright, again, you start to get the kryptonite effect. If it's too dim, you can't tell that there's lighting behind it. So that was a really fun project to work on, but a lot of different challenging aspects to it. On the direct side, it's a little bit more straightforward. Then it's just a matter of talking to the designers and end users on what are you displaying and how much do you want it to show off. Earlier, I used crystals. We did a jewelry store, and some of the jewelry they don't want lit up quite as much because it's just too hard on eyes. But again, you get to the crystal figurines and stuff, they want those things to really shine, and almost spotlighted LEDs, because those crystals turn the lights and making rainbow effects and things like that. So those display cabinets, we had to use a lot heavier duty LED driver to really make it twice as bright as, say, their standard output. And we have the advantage if we worked with the same type of designers for quite a few years now, and even if the end user doesn't have any idea of lumens or things like that, the nomenclature, they just know we just want it really, really bright, and we can talk to our designers and help them with that.
No, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So, I know a lot of people are just wondering, can you change colors and color schemes in different products and systems that you guys are doing in your commercial fabrication?
Absolutely. And that's the really cool thing about the LEDs is you can power them up and power them down, and change colors pretty easily, all in the same type of thing. And earlier you asked about the control package. So working with a designer on getting a really cool um, control package for them and design package. I've seen ones that all controlled by a phone. So you could be, in theory, across the world from them and start to change the color wheel and color palette on them. And I think that stuff's really cool, but it definitely changes the look and design if you really trying to highlight something, or as it gets later, take it down and tone it down and give it a lot more mellow look. You can do all that with lighting pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that stuff. So, real quick follow-up question for you, Kyle. Besides the jewelry store that we kind of just talked about, how do you decide the brightness levels in the end products in the commercial fabrication process?
Um, that's a good question too. I guess we have to know, we have to talk to the end user and know what their goal is for it. So are you trying to display something, or is it a background highlight? Uh, for instance, if we're using background lighting on their corporate sign, um, you don't want the light to be blinding. You want the sign to really show off. Um, and then the longevity of it. We did a really cool project for a university over in Chicagoland area, and this mural went up a staircase, so it ends up being 2 stories tall, going up a really long staircase. And that one, they did not want a ton of brightness out of it, but cared a lot more about longevity, because once this goes in, we don't want to have to touch it for years and years and years. So we want to we want the LEDs to not get burnt out right away. We want to make sure we don't overpower them so they don't last long. And that project's actually pretty, it's probably 6 to 8 years old now and still looks as good as the day it was installed. So we feel like it was a success, at least on the design side.
Very cool. And I'm sure it was. So, what types of commercial spaces benefit most from integrated lighting millwork?
Well, I think they all can, Mike. It is again just a matter of what effect do you want with it, and I think lighting can really highlight what you want it to highlight. So, if it's a corporate environment and you want to highlight your logo or something to that effect, we can definitely do that. If it's a more of a retail environment or um, hospitality environment, restaurant environment, we can start to use the lighting to highlight what you want to people to focus on and look at as your business. The cool thing about, and again, we kind of talked about this, so I hope I'm not sound like I'm repeating too much, but integrating it on the front side is we can then plan for how the lighting gets to that area. Are we building a special track for it? And then is it easily accessible later down the line? So you can change it out if you want to. You can add to it if you want to. So all those things go into actually how the millwork piece is built. If it's say a bar, where do we have lighting tracks on that? If it's a retail display piece, do you want to be able to see the lighting in it or not? And then like that really cool big beer sign that we were talking about, the lighting's not the effect. The effect that we want is to really highlight their brand. So we want that thing to come alive and somebody to remember that brand when they walk away saying, yeah, that thing was amazing. Took a picture in front of it or something to that effect.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So, um, not only does, from what I'm gathering, not only does it look better if it's integrated in there, which, when it's planned in the project, obviously it's going to look better. I'm guessing in the long run, it's more cost effective too if it's built in right from the get go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I
that was just kind
said
of
it
my
better.
view on it.
Yeah, you said that great.
So as always, you've shared a lot of stories today, but I'm going to do it again.
Yep.
It's story time. So Kyle, what I want you to do to wind this up, because I love hearing about your projects. You got to share a project with me where LED integration played a key role in creating a strong brand for a customer.
So we did a corporate environment in a high rise, and this corporation was actually an investor in a bunch of different manufacturing, usually small objects. So the reception desk had metal, and behind the metal sign is all backlit with LEDs and could change the color and kind of make it glow. But when that thing kicked on, their sign really broadcast out. It was pretty cool. And then we built a display next to that, or down the way from it, and used the LEDs almost in the opposite effect of more of a spotlight, so they can display all the different companies or something from all the different companies they've invested in, and show them off. So one project, two very different effects. One's subtle background to make their sign be the focal point. The other one's using direct lighting to really show off almost kind of a retail type environment. And um, that was a lot of fun to work on, and use both styles of LEDs that we're talking about all in the same project.
No, that's very cool. So you've taught us a lot about lighting and how integrated lighting, whether it be direct LED, you've given us a lot of information today. Definitely something to consider when designing your projects. as always, call Kyle at AF Johnson. He'll always help you. So Kyle, thanks again you taught me a lot today, a lot of things to think about. So I love our conversations. I look forward to the next one.
Sounds great, Mike. Thank you.
Hey, have a great day. Thanks a lot.